how to hear from God through people. This is a critical topic for me. You know, for 2 decades, I was a college professor at a Christian college where people were called into ministry. I can tell you, as a matter of fact, most people who are called into ministry were called by God through people. It's a dad or a mom who said, man, you'd make a great pastor. Or a pastor who said, I see something in you. Why don't you come along with me and do ministry? It is God's voice through people that help us to make more specific decisions, especially about occupational goals or hobbies or direction in life. So it's so important that we learn to listen to God through people. Now, I'm going to give you a principle here, and this will change, this will expand how many people you can listen to. You ready? Because you want to hear the voice of God. You want to listen to all the people who might be God's voice in your life. So here's the principle. You ready? A person does not have to be a godly person to be God's person. What? Think about it. Caiaphas, high priest. He is going to assassinate Jesus 3 months from John 11. But in John 11, Jesus has raised Lazarus from the dead, and the news has gotten to the Sanhedrin, and Caiaphas, he gets the Sanhedrin together and says, what are we going to do? And people are hemming and hawing, and Caiaphas says, don't you understand? Are you so foolish? He's talking to the Sanhedrin. Are you so foolish? Don't you know that one man must die for the nation? And then John, writer of the gospel, makes just kind of a parenthetical comment, as he likes to do. He said, Caiaphas prophesied. Now, wait a second. Caiaphas is the high priest, right? Of course he prophesied. He's the high priest. Caiaphas did not even know what he was saying, because he said, one man must die for the nation. In other words, we got to get rid of this rabble-rouser or we will lose our position. But what that really means is that Jesus would die for the sins, not just of the nation, but the whole world. Caiaphas, who was a bad man, the one who killed Jesus, actually prophesied about Jesus. How about that? You don't have to be a good man to be God's man. You see it again with the Apostle Paul in Acts chapter 23. He spoke against the high priest. He didn't realize he was the high priest, probably because he was near blind at that time. And someone said, you speak to the high priest like that. And he apologized. He said, I'm sorry, I didn't know that he was the high priest. I wouldn't have talked to him like that. Again, you don't have to be a godly man to be God's man. There are politicians that you will not like. There will be people in authority that you do not like. But if they are in a position that God has put them in, they're God's person, even if they're not a godly person. So as we're thinking about hearing from God, we better be listening to the people, all the people that God has put in positions of authority in your life. And if you will do that, then you will hear from God more frequently, more clearly, not just about the direction of your life, but of the ethics and rules that you should follow for a healthy life. And that is something worth talking about.